very ominous music for you, actually. I quite liked it. It's like, oh gosh, she's evil. Right. Welcome, Carla. Hello.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
We've already said how good this top is, but it's just so good.
Thank you. I thought I should bring out the color.
I'm so jealous.
We're very complimentary.
Your trousers are like
Exactly.
I'm not even going to go over there. I'm just in beige today.
It's very not like
You don't want to compete.
No, I'm normally very colourful, but today it's just a very beige day. Welcome to Brussels. Have you been before?
I have never been. This is my first time in this beautiful city.
First time in Belgium?
First time in Belgium.
Oh.
I know. I have been to many surrounding countries and never here.
Yeah, it happens a lot actually. They're good. Try the beer, try the Fritz, and you can't go wrong.
By the way, was anyone in the Grand Place last night? I walked in to go look at the famous building, as you know, and there was a full DJ concert going on. It was amazing.
Oh, love that. When you've never been somewhere, you wander somewhere beautiful and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this line.
They do that every night.
Oh, no.
Yeah, every night. Just as well.
We saw a juggler just in the road this morning.
We did actually.
Yeah.
Really?
No, there was a proper mime outfit. I think he was advertising the circus.
Yeah.
They're probably somewhere in here.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably cosplay. Are you new to cons, or is this quite a lot of cons these days?
You know, I am somewhat new to cons, and this is my first one in Europe.
Oh, it's a good one. They are nice.
I feel like you've been very welcoming. Thank you.
They are. They're so lovely. Except one of them. Never say no.
Which one is
Yeah.
it?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think it's just one of the best things about fandom, where you get to travel and meet people. It's just a lovely thing to do.
Yeah, and for me, I've been acting since I was 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I still love it as much as I have always loved it. I think one of the things about acting that is so meaningful is when you get to connect with people who share the stories with you.
We cut out.
Yeah, we are.
The mic is sort of strange, right?
Yeah, no, we're looking in there. They just seem to be coming out.
It's alright, we'll just, if we drop out, just fill in the gaps.
Exactly.
It's always a compliment.
You have a lot of connection with like a lot of comic book stuff. Like stuff, you know, Frank Miller, Alan Moore, like you've been immersed in as well. Do you find the audiences for them or any different audiences for other stuff?
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's the wild thing about cons is that, you know, I just ran into Frank Miller actually at one in the US, and it was so nice to see him because making Sin City was a really special experience. Robert Rodriguez I had worked with for like 4 times, you know, before that. So, but Frank I didn't know until then. But definitely there is this real, I think especially because Sin City and Watchmen were both so true to the graphic novel that people who are real fans, there's just a very big difference between that kind of passion and understanding of material and a bunch of people have come up here about Sucker Punch also, which was sort of misunderstood by many. I think people expected it to be more of a typical superhero movie, and it's digging much deeper and it's much stranger than that, and that's what I actually love about it. So whenever people come up about it, I'm always
Ahead of its time.
Yeah, for sure.
What is the biggest fandom that you come up to? Is it one show that dominates, or is it?
You know, every place is different. I think here, actually, interestingly, Snake Eyes, which was a film I did with Ryan and Nicolas Cage, that movie has more people who come up here than oftentimes in the States. But a lot of the work that I've done with Mike Flanagan, Gerald's Game, Haunting Hill House, obviously Usher.
I am such a big Mike Flanagan and your work in there, fan. Like, it's just what he's done for horror over the last, what you guys have done as a unit, it's just incredible.
It really is. I have to say, I think when I first met him, but we had never worked together when I did Gerald's Game. And, you know, they famously considered that Stephen King book to be unadaptable.
Yeah.
So I received the script, and I thought this was really well written, but I also have nowhere to hide I will literally be on a bed in handcuffs. So literally and figuratively, this could be a disaster. And then I spoke to Mike, and from the second I spoke to him, I thought I want to help this man bring his vision to the screen because he has such a deep understanding of psychology and of the way that people interact with each other, of grief, of loss, of healing, these very key elements. And then he's able to put it into horror. So you're still terrified, you still have a proper, horrifying experience, but they're also much deeper than that. And I think that's what really resonated to me.
But that is the best horror, like through the ages, horror has been a mirror to the mythology of the time, back to Godzilla, which was atomic war,
for sure.
Alien and all that, Fly was body horror, obviously, epidemics and things like that. And now we're going through a big mental health crisis, we've seen a better horror for that.
And I think that's the interesting thing about that genre in particular, is that you can tell the truth in a very different way than if you were telling a naturalistic story. Because you can actually deal with the heightened elements of what we're all dealing with.
Yeah, it's incredible. Also, like with all the work you've done with Mike, it's so late. Even simple, like, I remember watching Hill House and then rewatching it because it's like, I've got to spoil these ghosts. Like, even that level of detail is like, it's unheard of in a lot of TV. It was just different level of storytelling.
It really, he is a different level of storyteller. I'm constantly impressed by him. And I think with anything good, the more you watch it, the better it gets, as opposed to the opposite. So it's been a total joy to be able to collaborate together.
Do you have a favorite series that you worked on?
It's kind of like kids. It is hard to play favorites. But I guess if I had to pick one piece as a whole, it might be The Haunting of Hill House. Although Gerald's game is very special to me, and the House of Usher, to get to play Luna in all of those different incarnations is something you just would never get asked to do.
The House of Usher. The scenes in that are just now in my head forever. It's just a level of horror that's just...
I always say if you can get past episode 2, because if anybody has like a issue with horror, you're like, I can't do it. And they're like, just get beyond episode 2. Episode 2, which is spectacular, by the way, if you love horror. But if you don't, then you get into
that sprinkler sequence. Good God. I just sat after the credits roll like, I'll probably never sleep again actually. And I love horror.
I know.
But that,
I also remember when Henry Thomas and I were doing the Hit and the Pendulum episode, and we're lying on the ground, and the thing is going, and we were just lying there for hours and hours on this cold cement floor, and some of it was there, but much of it we had to imagine because it was obviously placed in later. So it was effective in the moment, but when I saw the actual, I was scared. I was in the scene. So
it's incredible. It's incredible. I love as well how a lot of your direction is, and you're going to be lying down.
Exactly.
Was it quite grueling in Gerald's game? It's like, I've been in that for a game. It's not easy.
You know what's funny is that Bruce Greenwood was amazing to work with, and so that was, and Michael Famigliari, who was the director of photography, who also co-directed directed half of the House of Usher. Was amazing, and then obviously Mike. It was very safe feeling set, but they were so concerned for me about the handcuffs. So every time there would be a person who would come in and be like, "Let me take off the handcuffs." I mean, it was super sweet. But what they hadn't thought about was, nor had I, was that the headboard of the bed, which was actually, it's an Easter egg because it's from one of Mike's other movies. So it was a prop that was brought in and made the back of the bed, but it's super bumpy, so I ended up with perfect wrists and bruises all over my back. But you have to suffer for your art. So.
It's incredible. Again, just big fan of the whole thing. Do you have any characters that have stuck with you over the years that you wish you could step back into?
Interesting, well, Ingrid Cortez, this character in Spy Kids, the mom in Spy Kids, I really absolutely love playing. And I got to with her 3 times, so I feel pretty lucky with that. There's a television show called Jet, J-E-T-T. I don't know if that is here or not, it's on HBO. And that's a character that I love that show. So that's something that I would love to do more of. But really, you know, I think the way that I don't know, you know, you can't choose certain things about yourself. And one thing with me, generally, is that once I've done something, especially if it's been a really complete experience for me, I'm ready to move on to something entirely different. And so for a long period of my career early on, I think that was confusing to people because they were like, wait, she's the mom in Spy Kids, but the lesbian girl of a certain city, but the, you know, like who is this person? And that's what I love, is transforming. And thankfully, I think one of the advantages of doing this now for most of my life is that it's being recognized as a body of work. So that's something that I feel very grateful for.
Shows range, it means you don't get stereotypes or anything like that. But now, I would really love there to be a reboot of Spy Kids with them at their age now.
You know what's funny is that I just saw Robert Rodriguez in Austin, Texas, where we filmed the movies, and he said, I want to do one more and get the entire cast from all of them into it. So, you know, he can accomplish anything, so it may happen.
Spy adults, come on!
Yeah, it'd be amazing. That would be incredible. That's the people in my fandoms from childhood as they grow up and they mature.
Yeah.
So if you do it right, it does translate.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
amazing.
Yeah.
We want to give you guys a chance to ask some questions. So if you've got a question, please raise your hand. We'll get the mic to you. Yeah, straight away. What an outfit.
What's your favorite football team?
That's a great question. I'm going to disappoint you and say I don't watch a lot of football. I watch the World Cup every 4 years, and I always feel like I have to go for Brazil, you know, but also my boyfriend's Spanish, so then there's arguments in the house. I'm Italian. I feel like this is a really dangerous question. Thank you for it, though.
What's your favorite football team? Oh, try this one. Oh, that was the one you liked earlier, wasn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Amazing. There's a question down here.
Yeah, hello. What was it to join the cast of Adaptations at the first season? Because they had started, you know.
Yeah.
What was it? And then I have another question. I've seen that you were on stage too. What is your favorite thing? Movies or theater?
Californication is what you were asking about, right? Yeah, David Duchovny was amazing to work with. You know what? That was a very easy new show. I came on board and it felt very natural to me. And I had done Entourage before that, and in a way, those two characters are like sisters. They're different from each other, but they have a similar attitude. And it was a fun thing to play with. I had a great time on that show. In terms of theater, the first play that I did on Broadway was when I was 32 years old, and I started acting in Hollywood in film and television when I was 13. So it was quite a ways into my career, but then it became a really big part of my career. So I can't say that I have a favorite, but each one, film, television, and theater, really strengthens you for the other medium. You know, the interesting thing about film is that you can do many takes, and so you're kind of trying to capture that one take that's like lightning in a bottle, but you have very little rehearsal, right? And for theater, you have obviously so much rehearsal, but then you have to live it anew as if it never happened again every night. And so there's such different skill sets that I really appreciate to work. Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Question down here.
Sorry.
Probably the speed, if you come a bit this way, it'll be a little bit better. Sorry.
Alright, you play so many different roles in usher, but also in your career in general. How do you separate one characters? How do you make sure you're not making performance over and over? Because I know some actors.
Right. Well, you know, it's interesting because some movie stars, in a really great way, kind of play different versions of themselves, and we all go to the theater to see them do that because that's super cool. For me, that just hasn't been, that was never what I wanted to do for myself, so it was really important to be able to be transformative and disappear characters. Interestingly, the House of Usher is kind of like emblematic of that all-in-one project, as you said, because we were supposed to be shooting, and we were initially going to shoot in sequence. And so I thought, oh, okay, I'll be able to kind of embrace each one of these aspects of Verna. But because you rarely get to shoot in sequence, and by the time we started filming, it made much more sense to shoot out a sequence. So there were some days that I would be 2 characters or 3 characters in the same day. And so that was really interesting to try to find the different places where they live in my body, the different accents, the different body movements, and ways in which they move. So that was a really interesting, almost like exercise in not repeating myself and not falling into what I had acted that morning because it was all so close. So I don't know that there's an answer specifically to that, but it's definitely a really cool challenge every time. And usually, if I know exactly how to do something, I feel like I should let someone else do it. Like every part needs to scare me a little, like I don't know, maybe I'm not sure. And that's part of like the magic.
I really hope you don't get a job as like a taxi driver or a pilot, because I really want them to know what they're doing in the
Yes,
role.
exactly. Someone who works in acting.
Any more questions left? Can we, we'll get the microphone and then we'll come back over this way. Careful. Yeah, you might come this way. Sorry. Sorry, everyone's ears.
Hi, I wanted to know, I know you did the audio play of Extreme Honey and Desire. Are you interested at all in doing like more audio plays or audio books, or is that like a medium you'd be interested in getting into?
I really do love, I love that medium. It's interesting during COVID, because we were supposed to do Streetcar at Williamstown Theater, and then we went to Broadway, and ultimately because of COVID that didn't happen, so we ended up recording it for Audible, which was really a cool experience. But I also did a really beautiful play called The Cube that I also did for Audible, which I really love. So the answer to that question is there's something interesting about the old school radio play scenario where you only have your voice to work with. So yeah, it's something that I would love to do more. I really enjoy it.
We were just chatting to Katie Lang and Harry Rowan who do voices on our game. They were saying that they didn't really get to work with anyone in the recording, it was all separate. Was it the same for you? Were you with another cast? Or?
You know what's interesting with Audible? No, it's true that I recorded by myself, but because that one, maybe Streetcar and Desire, was in during COVID, we were all in our own apartments, not even in a sound system, in our closets. Because you know, if you have a lot of clothing around you, it muffles the sound, right? So we were all in our closets, we were all on Zoom, so we were able to see each other but not be with each other. So it was almost more surreal than just doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Right, that was yes. Do you have a favorite scene from the Hudson Club?
Oh boy. I'll say 2 moments. It's too hard for me to pick a favorite. 2 moments. One I thought was so amazingly shot, and it was so chilling in the script, which is when my character Olivia is lying on the couch, and I have the children in my arms, and then Henry calls me, and they're gone, and then they're back. I found that to be just so, as a mother, so haunting. And then I really love that scene at the beginning of really kind of the Olivia episode, where Annabeth Gish and I are cleaning up the glass on the ground. Mike just wrote such an exquisite monologue there that I thought was just such a treat to get to play. So, we only did 2 takes of that whole monologue, and he chose the first one, but we only did 2. Yeah.
That makes you feel good, I imagine.
Yeah, at least prepared.
Nailed it! We've got time for a couple more, so yeah, we'll go 1, 2, and around.
Yes. Question. You played in quite some adaptations like Sin City, Watchmen, Gerald's Game. Obviously, these adaptations they come with a hardcore fan base, like Gerald's Game, for instance, Stephen King. Is that something that you really take into account when creating the film?
Yeah, I think what I've been really fortunate with Adaptations that the filmmakers have been really respectful of the writers. You know, Mike Flanagan is such a beautiful interpreter of Stephen King, and you know, and obviously Frank Miller was there with us for Sin City. So I do feel like for me it's definitely very important that it's something that not only the writer would feel good about, but also that the fans of that piece of material, even if it's different than the book, which it should be, because obviously the book has already been done, can feel like they have a connection to it and be excited to see it. That is something definitely that I do think about.
Were you aware of the pressure of like some of those? It's like Watchmen is essentially converting the Bible for a lot of common lives. And Sin City was again at the time such a huge cultural
I know. No, it is. I do think, you know, I guess in that piece, because back to the theater film question, what's interesting is, you know, in film or television, it really is the director's medium. At the end of the day, you give everything to them, and then they do with it what they will, and hopefully they make it amazing. But you only have a limited amount of control in that. Whereas on the stage, you know, once you're up on that stage with the audience, it's only you and them. Exactly. So in that case, I have felt the pressure, but I also know that I have a limited amount of control. So mostly in those situations,
I
am focusing on like, what can I do to be true to this character?
It's amazing. What do you remember seeing Sin City for the first time? Because it was so visually impressive.
Yeah.
I remember being blown away by it.
Well, also because it was early on and it wasn't something that, you know, people have seen that much of. What was really cool, for those of you who are Sin City fans, is that we had 3 monitors going at all times. So we had one monitor that was Frank's, his graphic novel, you know, basically just the one page of his graphic novel. Then we had that on green screen, and then we had that turned into black and white. So you know, usually when you're working on a character, you're working from the inside out. But this was really interesting because, especially with Lucille, we decided that with Robert, we wanted it to be exactly frame per frame of the graphic novel. So literally it was like, okay, Lucille's elbow, oh no, it's a little bit more like this, and her hand is here. So all of that was like precise, and then it was, oh, how do I live within that structure? And Mickey Rourke was great to work with, you know, as was Bruce Willis, and I had worked with Robert I had worked with the entire crew on all of the Spy Kids movies, so it was funny to show up as Lucille and have them be like, wow, Spy Kids mom, Lucille, okay. Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, amazing. What was amazing about that is I didn't realise how deep I know Sin City. The music was playing in my head.
Yeah.
That's right.
Totally.
We're going to time for one last question, so it's all yours.
In the House of Usher, every character gets a different storyline, and for each one you play kind of a different persona. Did you have a favorite one?
You know, I'm always a sucker for a blonde, so I did love episode 2. I really loved that look. But I think for me, the heart patient, I really loved playing her. It's very different than what I usually get asked to do, and I found, you know, especially in the United States, the medical system is so
That's great!
Yeah, it's really like so many people don't get taken care of, should get taken care of, and you end up really scared in a lot of those situations that you're not going to be okay. And I really found her to be so vulnerable in that way. And again, back to being able to speak to true things in life, I found that character to be so heartbreaking. So she was really fun to play.
Great answer.
Good question.
Great answer. I guess we love asking this at Comic-Con because there's so many fandoms. Do you have a fandom? Is this something you're a big nerd of?
You know, gosh, I'm a fan. I'm a nerd in every way, really, truly. But in terms of, you know, I think it's funny because I think it's those shows that are seared into your memory. You know, for me, I had stepkids who were growing up during Harry Potter, and so I feel like I know that it's all from the inside out from the books and then the movies, and I have so many dear, amazing British actor friends who are in them as well, so I have a real soft spot for that. And then I'm also obsessed with chocolate, so you know that
country for it.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
know. Guys, you've given me some delicious chocolate. I have already tried it.
Amazing. Carla, we're going to let you go. Are you here all weekend?
No, just today.
Oh, well,
Just today.
you have limited time to see Carla, so please do go over, ask her questions, give her all your chocolates.
Yes. No, we can share. We can share.
We do one thing with every guest, we get a little selfie with everyone in the background. Are you
Yeah,
okay
of
for that?
course. Let's do it.